Hello, friends. Welcome to Led to Gold, the podcast where we share stories of growth and wellness. I am so excited and also so nervous and maybe even a little bit terrified to be bringing this out into the world. But above all, just really glad you're here and welcome in. Welcome in. This is the first episode. And today I really just wanted to take some time to talk about why we're here. Why am I doing this? Where am I from? What's going on with me? And introduce myself a little bit. So with that, my name is Erin Taylor. I am currently a high school English teacher, which really has nothing at all to do with this podcast. More on that in a few minutes, but in general, that's where I'm at in life. I'm 25. I graduated in 2020, and I still feel like I'm very much in the part of my own life where things are just getting started. I have a lot of things that I'm interested in, and even though teaching is what I do and that's how I make money, there are so many other things that interest me, things that I like to do, things that I like to talk about. So one thing that I can already sort of get anxious about and assume that other people will immediately question, even though you may not be, is, okay, Erin, you're an English teacher. You're not, a wellness coach. You're not any sort of health professional. You're not in that line of work. So why do this podcast? Why not stick to what you know? And part of myself thinks the same thing. It's like, maybe I should just make a podcast about teaching, but there's a lot of reasons why. I want to first just talk a little bit about the fact that I started Led to Gold as a blog. If you are one of my earliest listeners, you are almost certainly finding this podcast through my blog or through my Instagram. And Led to Gold is a place where I just wrote about things that I was experiencing, growth, life updates, things that were just on my mind, whether it was positive or negative, just things I was trying to work through. And I was always asking for community feedback, although I really don't have that much of a platform at this point in time. It's just something that I want to have conversations about with other people. Now, again, with blogging, the reason that was never directly related to my job is because I have a lot more hobbies than just my job. I think most people do. I hope you do. Teaching isn't everything to me. I love what I do, but at the same time, I am a skater. I love going to the gym. I love being outdoors and gardening. And there's just so many things that I could talk on and on and on about. And if you know me, you know that I do tend to do that. My partner tends to do that. So I'm in good company, but I just have a lot of hobbies and I don't want to just talk about one thing. I don't want one thing to become my whole life, right? So I'm, again, I don't think most people do, but one thing that I feel like I see a lot of once we reach the ages of working full-time jobs, however old you are when you're in that space, is, we do our job and then we're exhausted and then we come home and we watch Netflix and do nothing, which, don't get me wrong, that is a lot of days with my job. I teach 120 children and it is exhausting. And sometimes I do come home and just take an hour-long nap and then lounge around and watch YouTube for 3 hours. I'm not going to lie. I mean, yeah, we're only human. But I guess my point is I don't want that to be the only thing that I do talk about. I don't want that to be the only defining feature of my life, my job, because that's boring. And I have a lot of hobbies, so we're going to continue on with them. But all in all, I made Led to Gold the blog in early 2021. And in all honesty, the thing that inspired it at the time was a sort of spiritual women's group that I was a part of. And my mind was just blown wide open from this program that I was in. But I didn't really have a lot of people in my life that could relate to it, or any place to just put all of these new ideas other than my journal. It was something that I thought was just so brilliant that I really just wanted to share my ideas in a more public way. So I made Led to Gold. I started talking about not only that, but a lot of that, these new ideas that I was having about what really lights us up and what makes life worth living, which I will talk more about in just a minute. But yeah, my very first blog post was about dropping in at the skate park. And I was really into skating at the time, but I was also relating it to how life can feel scary in that same way. If you're somewhat familiar with skating, dropping in is when you are like holding your whole skateboard over the ledge and then you just bring your front foot down and drop into it, literally. So at the time, it felt like a really strong metaphor for life. I was like, this is terrifying. And standing over that ledge is terrifying, but sometimes you just got to drop in and do it. And that was me starting the blog, was the same sort of feeling. So it's been great. But that being said, I did take a really long break in 2022 from writing because it was starting to feel inauthentic. I just wrote a blog post about this. It was the last one that I put up. It's called The Holy Pause. If you are so interested in reading, I will put that link in the show notes. But in short, I was starting to just feel like it wasn't my own voice anymore, and that I was just kind of copying things that I saw on the internet. And if you are a part of the sort of like spiritual wellness community, you are probably familiar with how much of an echo chamber that social media space can be. And I just didn't want to be wrapped up in it. I know that there's more for me to share than what everyone else is sharing already. Not to say that it's not valuable information, but it can get pretty exhausting sometimes to be seeing these same messages that almost teeter into the quote unquote that girl category, or like, I don't know, there's just all these internet trends that recycle from old trends that weren't really that great, didn't have great intentions to begin with. So yeah, I was not in a place to stick around and just filter feed through all of that information and regurgitate it. That was not what I was interested in doing. So I took a step away. But we're back, and I am so excited for this new opportunity being here, because I plan on it not just being me, but having guests from time to time. I already have a couple of really exciting people lined up, willing to come on the show, and I cannot wait to share their stories with you. I can't wait to talk with them and have them on here, and it's just going to be really awesome. Just sort of have these new perspectives that are not just mine, and not just things that I'm seeing on Instagram every single day in nice, pretty fonts from very beautiful people. I know everybody says this, but I want this to be a space for everyone. So I hope that I can bring forth a lot of new voices that are representative of everyone, you know? So often in these online spaces that control our, I wanted to say newsfeed, but you know, whatever, like the For You page, let's say that. I don't have TikTok. But they're often just so overrun with the same faces and the same people and the same ideas. And I don't want to be a part of that. I want to be a voice for the people. So, you know, with all of that being said, I wanted to also just really quickly talk about why lead to gold is a thing. Like, what does it mean? What is lead to gold? The show name is inspired initially actually by an Arcade Fire lyric that I really liked. It doesn't have much to do with what it means to me now, but I love the idea of turning lead into gold. If you think about it, I think it was an old alchemy trope. I really don't know anything about alchemy, but you know, you take this really heavy substance that potentially isn't worth very much, and you turn it into something that is a lot more valuable. Maybe if you want to get a little bit English teachery right here, it's a metaphor for turning the hard shit of life into something valuable and something that we can enjoy. So that is all in all why I'm here. And I really wanted to bring this to a podcast format to try to spread the word a little bit and see where everybody else is in their lives, see what lead we can all turn into gold together. And that's the mission. That's the mission. It's always evolving. I'm always really trying to think of new ways to bring it out, but that's where I'm at right now. And the last thing that I wanted to bring up just about me, because I think it's some good context for why a podcast, why here, why now, is when I was in college, I was a sophomore, I think. I, had already been through a year, and I was struggling to make friends. I loved my freshman roommate. Oh my God, we're still besties. I love her. But I really just didn't feel like I had the same good close friend group that I did in high school. And I know that's not most people's experiences, but I just was really bummed out about that. I just felt like I didn't have anything in common with the people that I went to school with, yada, yada, yada. I found radio. I was a radio DJ for actually only about a couple months. Some things changed. It's a long story. I might talk about it someday, but I fell in love. It was genuinely a home to me to go to the studio, sit down, make my playlists for the week, and have my little late night Saturday show that definitely nobody listened to, but I liked to sit in there and pretend that thousands of people were listening. I shouldn't say that. The radio community at my college was really close, and I know all of them that were involved had that station just on their car radios automatically. So I did have a little community there, but I mean, the community is really truly what made it. I felt like I had finally found people that understood me and my interests, and not only that, but I was able to comfortably talk about them and sit by myself in a room and listen to myself talk and be comfy. I loved it. And maybe it's a little bit of a nostalgia factor, but that was also just something that I felt needed to come back into my life a little bit. So in that regard, I'm here. I'm sitting in my study talking to myself with my headphones on, and I'm having a grand old time. So we're making 2023 the DJ redemption year, and I can't wait. So I would love to drone on and on and on, and I will. Don't you worry, I will. But I really just wanted to make this first episode a little taste tester of what Lead to Gold is and what it means to me and what I hope to bring out into the world. So if I haven't already made that abundantly clear, this is just a space to find out what lights us up and hear some stories about that. Hear some stories of getting better and learning through trial and error. I forget who I was with the other day, but I think we said trial and failure on accident. And I was like, you know what? I like that. Trial and failure. You know, it's okay. It's okay to fail. It's okay to fail several times, but just through the things that we love to do, how do we make life better? How do we grow? How do we find hope again? And that's what I hope to bring here. So the last thing that I want to end with is just a little caveat. Is that the right word? I'm an English teacher. I should really know these things. But, disclaimer. Here we go. I just want to say that obviously, as I've mentioned, I am an English teacher. I am not any sort of health professional. I am not trained in any sort of medical field, mental, whatever. You get the idea. Most of what I will be sharing on this show is anecdotal. It will be stories from my life. It will be stories from other people's lives. I really do not intend to do a lot of research unless the topic calls for it. And if it does, I promise I will bring that up as best I can. But in short, this is a podcast for personal stories. So if you are looking for something in the field of health and wellness that is a little bit more research-based or science-backed, this may not be exactly what you're looking for. I hope that you stick around regardless, because I do think that we're going to be learning a lot together. But if that is not your cup of tea right now, I totally understand. And I just want to tell you straight up at the beginning that you may not find that sort of like full-on research stuff here. Just wanted to put that out there, but I super appreciate you for being here regardless. And I am just very, very excited to get started. This episode will be hopefully launched on January 1st if you're listening. Yay. I will have a new episode on January 2nd. And from there, I'm planning on doing a bi-weekly episode. So every other week. We know what bi-weekly means, right? I would hope so. Cool. So that's it. That's what we're doing. And I am just elated. Thanks for being here. I love you so much. And if you want to stay updated in the meantime, feel free to subscribe to Led to Gold. The link to do that is at the bottom of every page on my website. You just type in your email, and I only send emails when there's a new blog post or a new podcast episode, things like that. I won't spam you, I promise. You can follow my Insta at led.to.gold. And potentially most importantly, especially since this is a new show, leave a review for me. I would be so happy to hear what you think so far. Obviously, there will be more to come and more in-depth conversations, but if you feel so inclined, you can leave a little review right now, and I would just be so happy to see that. That's it. Love you guys so much, and I will see you tomorrow. Woo! Bye.